I'm deciding to your life up. Rick, I'm gonna your life up.
50 Cent damaged Rick Ross's reputation so severely that it ended with him being sued for millions over the private details he exposed. So let's begin by breaking down what sparked this feud in the first place, before getting into how Rick Ross's career took a lasting hit from everything that followed.
Is there anything about Ross and his career that you have any respect for?
No, there's nothing there. I never wanted to work with him.
They've long been recognized as one of hip-hop's most relentless trolls. 50 Cent has truly done it all when it comes to beef, from publicly pressing his own artists for money like a debt collector to famously buying out 200 front-row seats at Ja Rule's concert just to make sure the venue looked empty during the peak of their feud.
I just happened to see them on the
on StubHub or something?
Yeah, like it was like this for you to buy it, and I was like, they were so cheap, I might as well just buy it.
But out of everyone who's ever crossed paths with the G-Unit General, no one likely regrets it more than Rick Ross. Their tension first sparked after a run-in at the 2008 BET Awards, where Ross claimed he simply didn't like the way 50 Cent looked at him, while 50 later insisted he didn't even recall Ross being there. What followed was the beginning of a feud that has lasted for decades. Looking back in 2011, 50 believed Ross intentionally started the beef for publicity, saying, "It all started because I looked at him the wrong way. That just means he wanted to compete, to elevate himself, to create some buzz, and he succeeded." Regardless of Ross's motives, that moment at the BET Awards pushed him to diss 50 on his track, Mafia Music, where he took the first lyrical shot.
Burn the house down, you gotta buy another. Don't forget the gas can, jealous, stupid motherfucker.
Now, in case that doesn't quite make sense to you, what Ross was referring to was a house fire that engulfed the home of 50 Cent's baby mama, Shaniqua Tompkins. At the time, 50 and Shaniqua were locked in a heated custody battle over their son Marquise, as well as over the ownership of that very house. "He's obsessed. He's very obsessed," she said back then. "We're in litigation. We're fighting over the house. He said he was going to have someone come kill me. Just watch what he does. He hasn't even checked in to see how his son is doing. I'm very upset." Though 50's reps confirmed he was in Louisiana when the fire broke out, Shaniqua claimed she heard intruders just moments before the house went up in flames.
Someone threw something through the window and the house just ignited. Couldn't even make it downstairs. We had to jump out the window.
Do you think he hired someone to do it?
Yes, of course. I know he's too much of a coward to do anything himself.
But authorities also stated that the fire appeared highly suspicious.
And the authorities are saying that right now it looks like the fire was set, that it was not an accident. That's what they believe right now. Okay, so if somebody set the fire, I'll tell you who has the motive, and that's 50 Cent. No question about it.
Nonetheless, Ross definitely came prepared with ammo when it came to dissing 50. "I had to address a few things. I had to address a few people," he said about the track. "I love it. The thing is, some people are going to be..." And that's the best way I can put it. Ross had every reason to feel confident. His first two albums had gone platinum off the success of hits like Hustlin', and the hip-hop world had embraced him with open arms. But he was stepping into the ring with a seasoned provocateur who never backed down from conflict. In fact, in his very first response to Ross's diss, 50 made it clear that he would ruin Ross's career just for entertainment, having already done it to rappers like Ja Rule, Fat Joe, The Game, and several others, for even less provocation.
Niggas think that it's an opportunity to create energy or like a excitement for the actual release of their record. And I understand that it may be more attention than you usually get, but it'll be the kind of attention that when it goes away, you go away. The company, the system might actually feel like it's a good idea for the moment until they realize that I won't stop. There's nobody in control of me. I'm deciding to fuck your life up. Rick, bro, I'm gonna fuck your life up for fun. This is not new. I do this all the time.
Alongside making it clear that he would throw everything he had at Ross to accomplish his goal, 50 also dropped hints about the specific route he planned to take in dismantling him.
I can already see from here, from where I'm at, this nigga's a total fraud. You're gonna really understand how resourceful I am, you know? And you're gonna see what happens when someone comes from the environment and absorbs all of the new information.
From the outside looking in, the rumors about Ross's past ties to law enforcement were clearly going to be a central weapon in 50's attack strategy.
Oh shit, Ricky's friends outside. You hit him? There they go. Oh man, Ricky's crew. He said he got a $2 million crew in New York City. Like we was talking about the NYPD.
Suddenly faced with a determined and relentless 50 Cent, people quickly realized Ross was in serious trouble. because any dirt 50 could dig up would absolutely be used against him. Fifth's got a hell of a team, people said. He'll find out if you ran from a fight in second grade and blow that up. So where did the claim that Ross had once been a cop actually come from? To answer that, we need to rewind to 2006, when the Smoking Gun published an article titled "Screw Rick Ross." In it, they alleged that Rick Ross, whose real name is William Leonard Roberts, had previously worked as a correctional officer at the South Florida Reception Center in Dade County. This wasn't just speculation. They backed it up with a photograph that appeared to show a young Ross in uniform shaking hands at what looked like his academy graduation. At first, Ross denied the claims in multiple ways. When confronted about the photos, he insisted that hackers had superimposed his high school face onto someone else's body. If this was real, you don't think they'd have more specifics, like dates and everything? Fake pictures are created by the fake to entertain the fake, Ross argued. But the photos weren't his only controversy. Another issue dogging the Miami rapper was the name he went by. While it's common in hip-hop to borrow names from old gangsters, think Nipsey Hussle, Yo Gotti, Bugsy Malone, or even Machine Gun Kelly, Ross had taken his moniker from a real, still-living figure. That man, famed drug kingpin Freeway Ricky Ross, wasn't flattered. He was furious that someone had stolen his identity and profited from his name.
Rick Ross used my whole name, you know, and he probably gained the most stardom out of everybody. You know, he raps about selling drugs, right? And he never sold drugs. You know, he was a correctional officer, had a credit card in high school.
That's ironic.
You know, comes from one of those great backgrounds. Went to college and played like he couldn't read and write. You know, I'm like, why do you make mockery of stuff that normal people go through?
In his early interviews, Ross made a clear effort to keep the accusations and any questions about his true drug-dealing background as far out of the public eye as possible.
Are you a gangster or an entertainer or a collaboration of both? How would you respond to that?
You know, I get money in the entertainment business, but we could get gangster at any time. You know what I'm saying? So I don't want nobody to ever get it twisted. That's the reason why Ross really don't have no problems in the streets. You see the online thugs and the Twitter thugs, but when it come to reality, and you know, it's a whole different game.
But as someone should have warned him, the best way to keep a secret in hip-hop is to steer clear of 50 Cent, because once you give him a reason to come for you, it's guaranteed to be a rough ride. That point was made crystal clear in 50's response to Rick Ross's diss, where he kicked things off by dropping a track titled "Officer Ricky, Go Ahead, Try Me," once again mocking Ross and insisting he was no kind of gangster at all.
Criminals like every other word out your mouth about a bird. Like you sling cocaine, this shit is absurd. It's a rap, your career's fucking rap.
Although this was just the first in a series of diss tracks aimed at Ross, it also marked the start of 50 investing serious time and money into tearing down his reputation. Before long, he even went as far as commissioning a full cartoon series called Officer Ricky, where he relentlessly mocked Ross's past as a correctional officer.
Officer Ricky? Damn, Rick. Why you got me up in this motherfucker, man? Is it because I said you and your mama look like the Clumps? Well, y'all is some ugly motherfuckers. Or is it because I said your baby mama's a call girl? Well, Brooke is a call girl. God damn it, nigga, get me up out of here. Officer Ricky!
While 50 was fully committed to dismantling his entire persona, Ross did his best to downplay the situation whenever possible. And even as the nickname Officer Ricky began to gain traction, he continued to flat out deny that there was any truth to it.
How do you feel about Bossa giving you the name Officer Ricky? I just want to hear it from you.
Baby, I'm worth too much money to even be, sidetracked on this car.
When that wasn't enough to satisfy people's curiosity about what was really going on, Ross resorted to more creative ways of dodging the question altogether.
So our first chance to talk about this.
Right.
Rick Ross, where did the picture come from? Is that Rick Ross? Was Rick Ross a CO? Was that created, or is that a real picture?
The boss done did it all to get money. And what you gotta understand is, if rumors surfaced, it wasn't because of, and people feel like I didn't address them, it wasn't because of my selfish reasons, but you gotta understand, when you answer certain things, it may go to what was going on, who was involved, what the situation really was. So what we did was, we got with BET and we chronicled my life so people could understand. I made a few moves, you understand, and I feel like they was the best decisions for me to be in.
Still, no matter how hard he tried, the perception of Ross was shifting. And once 50 really began targeting him, no one could look at Ross bragging about pushing 100 keys the same way again. Nobody gives this guy credit for staying in character that long on camera. He deserves an Oscar, man. Straight up, biggest fraud in rap history. As is often the case with 50, it wasn't enough to just go after the man himself. He had to drag everyone around him into the fight. Among those eager to assist in 50's mission to ruin Ross was his baby mama, Tia Kemp, the mother of Ross's firstborn son. 50 linked up with her to film a tell-all video in which she claimed everything about Ross was fake, and even spilled tea about his other baby mamas too.
I mean, it's sort of embarrassing to me, because as you listen to his raps, you would definitely believe him, but it was surprising that he would sit there and say he spends $200 a month on food, $300 a month on clothes, his jewelry is rented.
Because I go where these other niggas can't go. $2 million worth of jewels on.
Possibly not real. His cars are being leased. He don't know where the money came from to put a down payment on a $1 million home.
Like Rick also has a baby mother who's currently working as a call girl. He has a daughter by Brooke.
While all of that made for good material, what really mattered was that Tia confirmed 50's claim about Ross having worked for the law.
Let me ask you a question. Did you know Rick while he was working in law enforcement?
He was a correction officer.
So we're clear he was a correctional officer.
After that interview, 50 announced that he'd be publishing Tia's tell-all book about her time with Ross, though luckily for Ross, that never actually came to pass. But while it was a smart move on 50's part to dig into Ross's background, targeting his baby mamas would ultimately backfire. Another of Ross's baby mamas, Lastonia Leviston, ended up filing a lawsuit against 50 after a sex tape of her leaked online, one that featured 50 providing commentary in character as his infamous pimpin' curly persona, and things didn't end well for him.
This that shit Prince was talking about right here, baby. It's some fly motherfucking shit, man. Motherfucking pen people looking for me, nigga.
The lawsuit claimed that 50 had illegally posted the sex tape online, and while the legal battle wouldn't be resolved for some time, it eventually came with major consequences. In the meantime, 50 continued his relentless attacks on Ross whenever the opportunity arose. Though Ross would fire back occasionally with a diss track or a subtle jab, he was ultimately playing checkers while Curtis Jackson was playing chess. At one point, 50 even posed for photos with Ross's child while in Vegas alongside Tia and Floyd Mayweather. It was a move that many believed crossed the line, even by rap beef standards. But whenever he was questioned about it in interviews, 50 always circled back to his main point, that Ross was nothing more than a total fraud.
You took a picture with his son, holding his son, but y'all have problems. Just imagine if your baby moms had your son with somebody else. It'd be ugly.
I had a hard time growing up, Clue. You know, my son's mom knows that my actions would reflect that, so she won't do it. She won't chance it. The people who know me know my capabilities, so they'll stop. You know, people who think I gotta gauge, I gotta look and see who is this guy before, you get into a space, because I believe you. When every day I'm hustling, I'm thinking that's who he is. Then you look in the back and go, wait, he's a cop. You serious? And anything else that comes out is go, okay, I can't even take this serious. I gotta go pimpin' curly. There's something else that's effective and laugh at it so no one else takes it serious.
Suddenly being called Officer Ricky by nearly the entire hip-hop fan base, Ross found himself buried under a label that just wouldn't go away. 50 might not have been the first to uncover his law enforcement past, but he was without a doubt the one who brought massive attention to it. So much so that, over time, the story even spread beyond hip-hop circles and into mainstream conversation.
That's Rick Ross.
Which one? The real one or the
real
fake one?
Yeah. No. The rapper
Freeway Ricky. No.
Yeah, the real Rick Ross. I know is the Freeway Ricky.
Yeah, that's the one you want to ask. You don't want to ask the rapper. The rapper was a prison guard.
But more important than getting people like Joe Rogan to catch wind of the story, what the G-Unit boss really accomplished was forcing Ross to finally admit the truth, because without that kind of pressure, it seemed like he never would have. As 50 continued applying heat, it became increasingly obvious that Ross couldn't maintain the facade forever. Then, in 2014, something truly unexpected happened. On the track Rich is Gangsta from his album Mastermind, Ross dropped the following line.
That's why I had to play my part, nigga. That wasn't me, it was the job, nigga.
For the first time in his career, Ross finally admitted to the worst-kept secret in hip-hop, the very truth that 50 had spent over 5 years trying to bring to light, and in the interviews that followed, he eventually came clean.
Most definitely refer to, me being a CO. I wouldn't change nothing. You under dig? I wouldn't change nothing. So Because to me, it's about who Rose is. It's about me. When anywhere I go and I step in the room, I put it down. People know this authentic right here. They know it's real. So it was nothing that I was really just, personally threatened with. I was just ready to move on. Okay. Let's go get this money. And right now, to feed my family, I'll do it again.
Suddenly forced to confess what everyone had suspected all along, Ross finally caved, meaning 50 had successfully completed the mission he set out on. But the real question was whether this long-awaited revelation delivered the kind of blow to Ross's career that 50 had hoped for. Did Rick Ross's career truly collapse under the weight of 50's expose? Because even though the idea of a rapper once being a cop was practically unthinkable in hip-hop culture, Ross still managed to put out successful records even after the truth came out. Still, it's worth noting that following the line he dropped on Mastermind, Ross never returned to the #1 spot on the Billboard charts. In fact, when his next album, Hood Billionaire, was released, it marked a career low in sales for him at the time. While that might not seem like a massive fall-off, some fans struggled to understand how he walked away from the scandal with little more than a scratch. The reality is, most hardcore rap fans overestimate how much the general music listener actually cares. Sure, hip-hop heads might have clowned him, but does the average listener really care if a rapper used to be a cop? As mentioned earlier, the beef happened at a time when Ross was peaking, both as an artist and as a CEO. Even though Ross claimed he was done with the feud, it still lingers to this day, and it's pretty clear the MMG boss still holds some feelings about it. Just look at how quickly he went out of his way to clap back after Charlemagne called 50 a diabolical genius. Sans. But even as Ross tried to point out 50's own flaws, all he got in return was a brutal reminder of how thoroughly he'd been exposed. 50 ain't worried about Officer Ricky. Officer Ricky doesn't even know the meaning of the word diabolical. And while Rick Ross remains a successful rapper and businessman, even if his sales have dipped slightly in recent years, 50 Cent has managed to stamp a permanent blemish on his name, one that will always follow him for making the mistake of coming at him in the first place. And honestly, that's pretty diabolical. So if there's one lesson rappers should take from all this, it's that when it comes to dissing 50 Cent, you better not have a deep, dark secret buried in your past. Because once he finds it, it'll become the one thing that defines you by the time he's done.